Why is it that the woman who craves silence, who avoids the crowd, ends up becoming the very person others can't stop watching, admiring, and wanting to be near? When we talk about Sigma females, one thing becomes clear. They walk their own path. They don't need the noise of the world to define who they are. They don't crave validation, approval, or constant company. Instead, they find comfort in their own space, their own silence, their own mind. But here's the paradox. The more they pull away, the more the world leans in. So why is solitude so important to Sigma females? Why does their independence turn into this invisible magnet that draws people in? Let's dive deep. For most people, being alone feels like a punishment. Silence makes them uneasy. Loneliness eats away at their confidence. But for the Sigma female, solitude is not a weakness. It's a gift. In those quiet hours, she reflects, resets, and reconnects with herself. She doesn't see solitude as empty time, but as a chance to build herself stronger from the inside out. While others look outward for answers, she looks inward, and that inner strength becomes the very energy people sense when they meet her. Think of it this way. Most people are running, rushing, and drowning in the chaos of life. Then suddenly they meet someone calm, collected, and centered in her own energy. That's magnetic. That's rare. There's something deeply human about being drawn to what we don't understand. And the Sigma female is often a mystery. She doesn't play by the same rules as others. She's not competing for attention. She's not desperately chasing approval. Her silence speaks louder than words. Her confidence doesn't need noise. And people can feel that. They're intrigued by the one who doesn't try too hard, who doesn't follow the crowd, who doesn't need anyone to define her. And so even while she values her solitude, she unintentionally becomes magnetic. Energy is something we rarely talk about, but it shapes everything. People can feel when someone is desperate for attention. They can sense insecurity, even when it's hidden behind a smile. The Sigma female carries a different energy. It's grounded, calm, unshakable. She doesn't need to be the loudest in the room, yet people notice her presence. They notice how she carries herself, how she makes decisions, how she stands firmly in who she is. And this energy pulls people in. It makes them want to know her, to understand her, to be part of her world. Most women are often expected to lean on others, to constantly seek support, protection, or reassurance. But the Sigma female flips that expectation upside down. She doesn't need anyone to tell her who she is. She doesn't rely on others to create her happiness. She's independent in the truest sense of the word. And independence is attractive. Why? Because deep down, everyone wishes they could be that free. Free from needing approval. Free from the pressure of constant company. Free from chasing what doesn't matter. When people see a Sigma female living that way, they're inspired, and they want to be near her, hoping that some of that strength will rub off on them. There's another reason Sigma females draw people in: depth. While others are busy filling their schedules with endless distractions, the Sigma female is spending her time in reflection, in self-growth, in creativity. She reads, she learns, she observes, she notices details others miss. And that creates a level of depth that's rare in today's shallow, fast-paced world. When someone talks to a Sigma female, they quickly realize the difference. Her thoughts aren't surface level. Her words carry weight. She asks questions that go beyond small talk. And that depth makes people want to stay longer, to keep listening, to keep learning from her. Another key to the Sigma female's magnetic presence is boundaries. She's not afraid to say no. She's not afraid to protect her peace. She doesn't let just anyone into her life. And here's the paradox again. The very fact that she doesn't let everyone in makes people want to be let in even more. Scarcity creates value, and the Sigma female's selective nature makes her relationships feel meaningful, special, and rare. When someone earns a place in her life, they know it's not by accident. It's because she saw something real in them. And that sense of being chosen by a Sigma female is powerful. One of the most magnetic qualities a Sigma female carries is authenticity. She doesn't wear masks to please the crowd. She doesn't pretend to be someone she's not. Her authenticity is refreshing in a world where so many people hide behind filters, fake smiles, and curated identities. When people encounter someone who is unapologetically themselves, it feels liberating. It feels inspiring. And that authenticity draws people in, because deep down, everyone longs for the courage to be real. Many people underestimate silence. They think talking louder means power. They think constant activity means importance. But Sigma females understand the opposite. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's presence. It allows them to observe, to listen, to truly understand what's happening around them. And because they don't waste words, when they finally do speak, people pay attention. Their silence makes them mysterious, unpredictable, and compelling. And people can't help but want to know what's going on in that quiet, powerful mind. What makes Sigma females truly unique is their ability to balance solitude with connection. They don't need constant interaction, but when they do connect with others, it's intentional, deep, and meaningful. This balance is rare. Many people either isolate too much or chase social interaction endlessly. The Sigma female, however, lives in both worlds, comfortable alone, yet magnetic when with others. That balance makes her feel whole, and wholeness is what makes people trust her, admire her, and want to be close to her. There's also a sense of safety people feel around Sigma females, because she doesn't judge, she doesn't gossip, she doesn't need to put others down to feel better about herself. Her strength gives people comfort. They know she's not clinging to them. She's not trying to control them. She's simply being herself. And that safety allows people to relax, to be themselves too. And that's rare enough in this world to make people keep coming back. Let's take a step into everyday life. Imagine a woman sitting in a cafe alone, not scrolling endlessly on her phone, not trying to look busy, but simply enjoying her coffee and her thoughts. People notice. Some admire. Some wonder, who is she? How is she so comfortable on her own? That's the Sigma female energy. She doesn't need to fill the silence, and that makes her unforgettable to those who witness it. Or imagine her at work. While others rush to speak up, to prove themselves, she listens, thinks, and then delivers a perspective no one else considered. That's not just intelligence, it's the power of solitude turned into wisdom. Sigma females may seem calm on the outside, but inside there's a quiet fire. Solitude doesn't extinguish that fire, it fuels it. They dream, they create, they plan, they observe. And when the moment comes, they act with precision, clarity, and power. People sense this fire. They may not see it directly, but they feel it in her presence. It's that combination of calmness and fire that makes her so magnetic. Confidence is not loudness. It's not arrogance. It's not showing off. Real confidence is knowing who you are and not needing anyone to confirm it. Sigma females build this confidence in solitude. They reflect on their mistakes, learn from them, and rise stronger. They trust their instincts because they've spent enough time with themselves to know their worth. And that confidence, quiet yet unshakable, becomes their magnet. People can't resist the pull of someone who is truly, deeply confident without the need to shout about it. Another reason Sigma females attract people is mystery. She doesn't reveal everything about herself. She's not constantly posting every detail of her life. She's not oversharing for attention. This mystery creates curiosity. People want to know more. They wonder what she's thinking, what she's feeling, what her story is. And curiosity is one of the strongest magnets in human connection. Sigma females often influence people without even trying. They don't chase influence, but their way of living inspires others. Their independence encourages others to be more independent. Their authenticity gives others permission to be real. Their strength gives others courage. And because this influence is natural, not forced, it feels genuine. That makes it even more powerful. Not all leaders are loud. Not all leaders stand at the front of the room shouting directions. Sigma females often lead by example. They inspire not by demanding attention, but by quietly demonstrating strength, wisdom, and independence. People follow them because they want to, not because they're told to. That's real leadership. When we talk about magnetism, it's not just about romantic attraction. Sigma females attract friendships, respect, opportunities, and admiration. People want them as mentors, partners, allies. They trust them in ways they don't trust others. Because the Sigma female has proven time and time again that she doesn't need to manipulate, pretend, or cling. Her magnetism works in every area of life. Another dimension is creativity. Solitude gives Sigma females the space to create, to imagine, to think differently. Great ideas rarely come in the middle of chaos. They come in silence, in reflection, in those quiet moments when the mind is free to wander. Sigma females embrace those moments, and that creativity makes them stand out in everything they do. People notice, people are drawn to originality, and originality thrives in solitude. There's a big difference between solitude and loneliness. Many confuse the two, but Sigma females understand the difference. Loneliness is when you feel empty without others. Solitude is when you feel full, even in your own company. Sigma females rarely feel lonely because they've built a world inside themselves that's rich, fulfilling, and meaningful. And that inner fulfillment radiates outward, attracting others who crave that same sense of peace. So here's the ultimate paradox. The more Sigma females retreat into their solitude, the more people want to be near them. Not because they're chasing attention, not because they're trying to impress, but because true independence, depth, and authenticity are irresistible in a world full of noise. For the Sigma female, solitude isn't just one thing. It comes in layers. There's the outer solitude, the quiet moments away from people, away from noise. But there's also inner solitude, a stillness she carries within herself, even when surrounded by chaos. This inner solitude is rare. Most people crumble under stress, noise, or pressure. But the Sigma female carries silence in her spirit. She can stand in the middle of a crowded room and still feel unshaken, centered, and whole. And people notice this. They sense that calmness, that quiet confidence. It makes them curious. It makes them want to stay close, hoping some of that serenity will reach them too. One of the strongest qualities Sigma females develop through solitude is emotional independence. They don't rely on constant reassurance to feel valued. They don't seek endless attention to feel alive. Instead, they validate themselves. They celebrate their own victories, even the small ones. They comfort themselves in times of pain. They build resilience that doesn't need an audience. And here's the secret. Emotional independence is magnetic. Why? Because most people feel trapped in emotional dependency. They need approval, likes, or constant company to feel good. When they meet a Sigma female who is free from all that, it feels revolutionary. Because of this emotional independence, Sigma females approach relationships differently. They don't cling. They don't play games. They don't settle for surface-level connections. When they choose someone, whether a friend, a partner, or a mentor, they choose with intention. They bring depth, honesty, and loyalty. And because they don't need relationships to complete them, they can enter them from a place of strength, not desperation. This is one of the biggest reasons people are magnetically drawn to Sigma females. They sense that being close to her isn't about filling a void. It's about sharing an already full life. Here's another paradox. Sigma females are not always available. They don't pick up every call. They don't reply instantly. They don't say yes to every invitation. And while some might misinterpret this as arrogance, it's actually self-respect. The Sigma female knows her time, energy, and peace are valuable. She protects them with boundaries, and that unavailability creates a sense of rarity. When people finally do get her attention, it feels significant. It feels like a privilege. That's part of her magnetism. She doesn't spread herself thin. She offers her presence intentionally, and that makes it powerful. Spending time alone sharpens intuition. With no constant noise drowning out her thoughts, the Sigma female learns to trust her instincts. She notices the subtle signs others miss, the tone of someone's voice, the shift in energy, the small details that reveal the bigger truth. Her intuition becomes almost a superpower, and when she speaks from that place of quiet knowing, people listen. They feel her words cut deeper because they're not random. They're rooted in clarity. That's why Sigma females are often seen as wise, even when they don't try to be. Their solitude trains their instincts, and their instincts guide others. At the heart of magnetism is rarity. The rarer something is, the more valuable it feels. And Sigma females are rare, Rare in how they think, rare in how they carry themselves, rare in how they live without needing constant noise. This rarity makes people chase them, even if they don't understand why. They sense something different, something uncommon. They want to be near it, hoping it will teach them how to be different too. Solitude also builds resilience. When the Sigma female faces challenges, she doesn't run to everyone for advice or comfort. She sits with her pain. She processes it. She learns from it. And over time, this builds a level of resilience most people never develop. She becomes someone who can weather storms without breaking. And resilience, like confidence, is magnetic. People want to stand near the unshakable one when life feels unstable. The most fascinating thing about Sigma females is how effortlessly they inspire others. They don't post motivational quotes every day. They don't shout their wisdom from the rooftops. But their very way of living, calm, confident, authentic, becomes inspiration for those watching. A coworker notices how she handles stress with grace. A friend sees how she refuses to compromise her boundaries. A stranger feels her calmness in passing conversation. These moments stick. These moments inspire. And that's why people keep coming back. There are different kinds of leaders. Some lead loudly, demanding attention, barking orders. Others lead quietly by example. The Sigma female falls into the second category. She leads without forcing anyone to follow. People naturally look to her for guidance, not because she demands it, but because she embodies it. Her presence itself becomes leadership. And in a world full of noise, quiet leadership feels like a refreshing change. Competition often defines relationships in society: who's prettier, richer, more successful. But Sigma females don't compete. Why? Because their value doesn't come from comparison. It comes from knowing who they are. This lack of competition makes them magnetic. People feel safe around them. They don't feel judged, compared, or diminished. Instead, they feel accepted. And that acceptance builds deep trust. Sigma females would rather have one meaningful conversation than 100 shallow ones. They'd rather have 2 close friends than 20 acquaintances. They'd rather live with intention than rush without purpose. This depth over quantity mindset makes their presence rare. When people interact with them, it feels more valuable, more impactful. That's why their relationships last longer, and why people are drawn to them even from a distance. One of the most overlooked qualities of Sigma females is restraint. They don't feel the need to respond to every provocation, to react to every situation, to prove themselves constantly. This restraint gives them control. They choose their battles wisely. They speak only when it matters, and that makes their words and actions carry more weight. Others may not always understand this restraint, but they respect it. They feel the strength behind it. When the world is noisy, solutions are hard to find. But in solitude, the Sigma female allows her mind to wander, to connect dots, to see possibilities. That's why she often comes up with creative solutions others overlook. Her solitude isn't wasted. It's an incubator for ideas, strategies, and innovation. People notice this creativity, and it makes her even more magnetic in workplaces, friendships, and communities. In moments of crisis, most people panic. They rush, they fear, they lose control. But Sigma females, grounded by solitude, carry calmness into chaos. This calmness becomes a beacon. People are drawn to it instinctively, because when the world shakes, everyone seeks the one who stands steady. This is why Sigma females often find themselves in leadership roles, even when they didn't ask for them. Their energy naturally makes people trust them in difficult times. Listening is a forgotten skill. Most people listen only to reply, not to understand. But Sigma females, because of their reflective nature, listen deeply. When someone speaks, she pays attention. She notices the pauses, the emotions, the unspoken words, and people feel heard, truly heard, in her presence. That feeling is magnetic, because in a noisy world, being truly heard feels like gold. Why people feel changed after meeting a Sigma female. There's something almost transformative about meeting a Sigma female. Even a short interaction can leave people thinking differently. Maybe it's her calmness. Maybe it's her honesty. Maybe it's the way she doesn't try to impress, yet still leaves an impression. People walk away changed, sometimes without realizing why. And that's the mark of true magnetism, not just being noticed, but being remembered. At the deepest level, solitude is about self-mastery. It's the practice of knowing yourself so fully that the world can't shake you. Sigma females use solitude to explore their strengths, confront their weaknesses, and align with their purpose. And this self-mastery radiates outward, influencing everyone they meet. People sense mastery. They feel drawn to it, even if they can't explain why. Unlike superficial attraction, the magnetism of Sigma females is rooted in respect. People respect their independence, their boundaries, their wisdom, and respect is stronger than attention. Respect lasts. That's why people don't just notice Sigma females. They admire them. They remember them. They speak about them long after they've gone. So why do Sigma females value solitude yet still draw people into their orbit? Because solitude doesn't make them weaker. It makes them radiant. It sharpens their mind, strengthens their spirit, and deepens their authenticity. And when someone shines from the inside out, without needing the world's constant approval, that light becomes impossible to ignore. If you are a Sigma female listening right now, remember this. Your solitude is not isolation. It's your superpower. It is the fire that makes your presence magnetic, your silence powerful, and your life extraordinary. Never doubt the pull of your quiet strength. The world is drawn to it, even when you don't try.